The situation escalated quickly after she made a remark that Chinese attack on Taiwan could possibly trigger a military response. From a Chinese perspective, that's clearly crossing the line.
She is talking about launching war against China to destroy China's sovereignty and territorial integrity, to deny the fact that Taiwan is part of China.
Relationship is going to get more difficult moving forward because the Chinese will not let go.
The wrongful remarks made by Japan regarding Taiwan have deeply hurt the Chinese people.
Maintaining diplomatic national sovereignty and integrity over Taiwan and ensuring that Taiwan does not again become a hostile base, especially for Japan, is a central security issue. China is acting in a very diplomatically responsible, but also determined, forthright, and clear way. They are sending a very clear message to Japan.
China responds aggressively and scares us a lot. Even though both Taiwan and the US are backing up Japan, more and more people worry that economic damage might be substantial if this continues.
China has cancelled some 500,000 Japan-bound flights and has announced it will ban imports of Japanese seafood.
The biggest worry is that customers simply won't come in anymore.
One thing tourism operators are all concerned about is the longer this drags on, the greater the damage will be.
Over-tourism is surely an issue at some spots in Japan, and many people don't like Chinese tourists, but we need them for the economy. That's what some of the residents emphasize here in Tokyo.
私はあれ言ったことはまずかったなと思う。あんなにさ、金使ってくれてんじゃない。日本に来て。やっぱりほら、物は日本じゃ一切もう、重機なんかで一切作れないわけだから。これでぐーっと敷かれたら、かなり違うよ。みんな売り上げがぐんとくると思う。
様々な世代の人が参加しています。
Despite of the rising domestic pressure, she refused to take that back, at least for now, and some of the parliament members consistently criticize it.
間違いなくそれは国益に損ねるわけですし、国際環境に影響を与えることは間違いないので、明らかに勇み出しちゃったと思います。
さすが高市さん、そこまで踏み込んだかじゃないんですよ。逆に言ったら日本国民をリスクにさらしている発言だ。日本と中国の間に緊張というものをもたらすってことは絶対にあっちゃならないんですよ。ビジネスの問題なんです。物を作り売ってた企業は潰れるってこと。そこで働いてた人たちどうなる？仕事失うってこと。
日本人だってお互い様だと思うよ。なんかそれは分かってんだけど、やっぱりまで口に出せないのよね、みんなね。それはいい、よかったって人は一人もいないと思うよ、俺。
To be fair though, the public might be divided, and some of the residents I talked to still support her stance and claim that we don't need to worry too much economic-wise. Anyway, let me share their perspective as well.
台湾は台湾でほら、自分のところでね、台湾の領地を中国が取ろうとしてるから、ひどいね、中国はね。それをね、高橋さんがはっきり言ってね、勝手なことばっかりやられるよりかはいいよ。
ますます、やっぱりああいう身勝手な国だな。脅せば素直な感じで収まってくれるってね。そういう意味では、ちょっと高橋さんも、そういう人間ばっかりじゃないんだなってのを考えてもらってもいいと思います。実際には、台湾は台湾だから、ああいうのはスパーンと言った方がいいと。
強い人も好きな人もいるじゃない。日本の国の人もね。こういう人なんだなって、改めて、そうでなきゃやっぱやっていけないのかなと思ったりしますよ。でもね、なんて言うんだろう。そんなに守るってことできないんじゃないかなと思うんですよね。だから協力はって、その協力の仕方がどれだけするのかなって、いや、それはちょっと心配になりますけど。
経済的心配じゃなくて、もともと中国製のものはつかないようにしてるから、日本製のものって買わないの。中国製のものはね、信用してない。だからね、逆にこういうことがあってね、取り入れなければよっぽどいいんじゃないか。他から買えば。だって中国で買う必要ないんだもん。
貿易がうまくいかなくなるってことは国がしぼんでいくっていうことにもつながるとか考えるでしょうけど、中国のものを喜んで買おうっていう人そうはいない、今は。表示商品のね、表示を見て、これ中国産だ。じゃあやめよう。
Some people say this is actually an opportunity for us to start diversifying our export and import dependency. Otherwise, China's likely to repeat blackmailing us again.
China tried doing this back in 2010 over the dispute over the Senkaku Islands. And Japan responded by essentially trying to develop its own sources of rare earth, cutting down their dependency on Chinese rare earth from 100% down to 60%. That's a really significant improvement. just in 10 years from 2010 to 2020.
中国に頼ってるわけでもないから、それは心配しなくてもいいと思うよ。むしろ中国の方が日本を頼ってるんだからね。あれしたからってって悔やむほどのことでもないと思うけど。
売って儲けてるとこもあるけど、昔から浅草行ってたけど、ちゃんと日本人みたくさ、おとなしくやればいいんだけど、なんかね、わかんないでしょ。いなくなった方が、僕は、日本のためにはいいんじゃないかなと思って。
本来日本人って穏やかで行こうよっていうそういう気持ちの人が多いじゃないですか。でも中国の人は民間人でも偉い役員でも自分の意見を主張したい。仲良くしようって言っても考え方がだいぶ離れてる。だからうまくいかないのかなと。
Having said that, some people emphasize we haven't had enough diplomacy and communication in the first place, so there might be a lot of misunderstanding with each other, and we can't let the conflict, racism against the Chinese in Japan, she points out.
I think what they're frustrated about is that happens when they don't communicate enough, but more than that, I'm worried about the students. There's a lot of Chinese students. I think it's important for the media to be careful in how they portray relationships because it really influences how people see each other.
As you know, they are the biggest group among foreign residents currently, and yet most stigmatized in this political climate. As far as I can see, the internet's full of anti-Chinese sentiment right now. Although no Chinese people I personally know in Japan have gotten any physical harm yet, some of them claim our attitude towards them is clearly different now.
They are more careful. They have the distance. When we first met, then it's hard to talk. I understand. It's because of the media. They pay much more attention to it.
I don't think physical damage is a concern, but small discriminations or internet violence, hatred speech, that is, I would say, unavoidable. Hatred is much stronger. The hatred is much stronger. Chinese people enjoy coming to Japan. Right? It's better for neighbors to have a good relationship, especially while I'm here in Japan. Right? We hope the relationship get better.
There's a difference between the Chinese government and Chinese citizens. It's important to consider that the Chinese government does not represent all the citizens.
Current situation makes me feel concerned and worried. I think the main issue resides in how she expresses her opinion. To me, how she approaches looks really aggressive, and she isn't respectful at all.
She shouldn't have said that, but I understand her point, but I don't think she should be that aggressive on that one. Taiwan is a sensitive topic. America have said, they want to protect Taiwan before, right? But China don't have that much of a response. But for Japan, it's entirely different. Right, because Japan used to occupy Taiwan. Chinese people are angry is because that kind of historical feeling is hard to get away. If the Prime Minister still stay on these comments, I don't think China is accepting that. There are people in China who say, let's go on war on this. From Chinese perspective, the government, the party, the people is one. People's opinion is government's opinion, is the country's opinion.
So she representing the whole Japan.
Yeah, for Chinese perspective, that means all the people in the country agree on the statement. I understand, not every Japanese think about that, but for most Chinese people, that's how it is. Because that's how we see ourselves. Right, the country, people, government is one. I would say impossible to accept her statements like that.
Empathy and respect to establish mutual understanding and mutual respect is the most effective way to achieve what we want to pursue. Both governments need to compromise.
She emphasized this benefits no one in Japan, not just economically but socially as well, and points out what's happening between the two countries is reflected on the relationship between Chinese immigrants and Japanese locals.
I come across lots of Chinese people. They don't have good understanding culture and social expectation. But on the other hand, people who easily judge Chinese people or Chinese immigrants, they are also ignorant. They don't have any deep understanding or knowledge in Chinese culture or Chinese ways of thinking. Mutual understanding and mutual effort to try to understand is key